that's how you know we've started.
We have to get the official word from the lady.
Exactly. We need to name her.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, welcome to the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm your host. I'm the Clydesdale. We love to do fitness, and these are my friends.
Hello.
Hello.
We need to thank our sponsors, RX Smart Gear, best jump rope in the business. I say it every week. They're awesome. You can go pick out a rope. You can pick out the weight. You can pick out the color. You can pick out everything. And you can get 15% off by using Clydesdale 15, all caps, at checkout. And major announcement. We are giving away a brand new RX Smart Gear jump rope next week live on the show.
Woo!
Good call. Thank you.
So we have hit the next century mark.
Awesome.
And a good chunk over.
And a little bit more.
Yeah, so we're rolling along with the subscribers, and we will be drawing a name if you have a public profile. So if you don't have a public profile, make sure you make it public before we go live next week to draw a name for who's going to win that jump rope. And you might need some energy to get you through that, to make that public. And you can do that by eating a Bear Bells protein bar. They're delicious. What's your favorite flavor, Amy?
Crunchy fudge.
I got my shipment of like 20 boxes of the caramel cashew is back in stock, and the white almond fudge, which is delicious.
Yeah, I took them on the road with me, and they were perfect. A perfect little snack while I had no time to eat. So
okay. I have a question about that. Do you put your protein bars in the fridge? Because at Mac, you kept them in the fridge, and I keep mine in the pantry. So I would like to poll our listeners. Please comment below. Do you keep your protein bars in the refrigerator? Do you like them chilled? Why would you do that? Or are you normal and keep them in the pantry?
So can I explain before you call me out for being a fridge protein bar guy?
Fridge freak. Yeah.
Go ahead, Amy.
I'm just saying I'm normal.
Yeah, me too.
I put mine in the pantry.
I put mine in the pantry normally, but I was in a hot car going to Tennessee, and I thought they would be melty, gooey. So I put them in the fridge to break, so that when I opened the package, I wouldn't have melted chocolate all over the place.
Got it. So, you just left them in the fridge all weekend, just on purpose? Or
that's just because I was so freaking exhausted.
Every night we open the fridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind.
So yeah, that's why. Normally they're in the pantry. But I don't mind them in the fridge. I don't mind them chilled. And actually this weekend in the 98-degree heat,
I was going to ask about that.
Freezer. And so by the time I would eat it in the afternoon, it would melt and be just perfect.
Yeah. So Scott, did you get a freeze pop at the Granite Games? I heard they were giving those away.
I did not.
I think you had to win an event to do that, maybe. So
yeah, when you are media at these events, you get absolutely nothing. You get a wristband to take you down on the field, and that is it.
Certain parts of the field.
Yeah.
Not all parts.
Yeah. I wasn't even allowed in certain sections like my teammates were, but hey, it is what it is.
Yep. Did you have fun?
I had a blast.
Good.
There were definitely more people there than Mac.
Like spectators, you mean, or what?
Just overall, like I think they had more volunteers. I think they had just more people I knew, I guess, is probably why it felt like more. I just felt like someone was always tapping me on the shoulder saying hi, and it's someone I worked with as a volunteer, or
this is
someone that listens to our show, or
this is more like your region too, right? I mean, Minnesota kind of.
Minnesota's part of our region.
Yeah. So it had a regional feel to it.
Yeah. The fun part was, so Dan Bailey has a new coffee, God's Country Coffee. And he did cold brew, and They were
Mhm.
selling them at his tent, and they were delicious. I just have to say, I used so little cream in it because it really was good. And I know we have a sponsor for part of our show, but Dan's local. I got to support my local guy a little bit. But I gave him shit for blowing me off for coming on this show.
Oh, good. And
To
what
his
did he say?
face. He said, I said, you owe me a podcast. He goes, I probably do.
Probably do.
And I
That's a
said,
perfect Dan expression too, just like with the eyes down, head
yeah, just,
shaking.
I probably do. And I said, well, I go to the same gym you work out in. Like, this shouldn't be a problem. He goes, you
Right.
do? I said, yeah. And I've interviewed your girlfriend.
Did he know that?
And we are the podcast that revealed that she was in awe of you at the games back in 2014. And he goes, oh, she won't let me listen to it.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm
funny.
like, I got the raw footage as long as you come on the podcast.
That's awesome. What you should do is you should have him over and you guys could like view her podcast first and then you can interview him.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I'm sure he'd be all in for that.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure. Did you ask him why he's no longer a good dude?
I did not.
No.
But I'm assuming it is that he has his own coffee now.
Right.
Valid point. Valid point.
I'm sure that is a part of it.
So you didn't have to drive around and find random coffee shops at 6 a.m. to get your coffee buzz on this weekend?
So I had no coffee partner this weekend.
Oh, okay.
And so I didn't have a car.
Mm.
So I was at the discretion of my chauffeur, who does not drink coffee.
You were at the mercy of the vendor showing up at the venue, basically.
Yeah. So Dan was the only one with available coffee. So I hit that a couple times.
And you have a podcast, so naturally you want to go there,
Yep.
talk to him, get him on. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But again, Vendor Village was pretty minimal again this week.
Yes.
I think the vendors just aren't sure whether it's worth their while until the fear of COVID is gone and there's more crowds at the events.
Yeah, I would imagine to like to pay to be there because they don't invite you to be there. You have to pay for your space, and depending on you, I'm sure you have a threshold of sales in mind, and you've got to hit that threshold of people in order to make that math work. Unfortunately.
Now I think it was a little bit better than Mac.
Okay.
For crowd.
Okay.
Probably maybe like 10% better.
Mm-hmm.
But it was 98 degrees.
Yeah.
Like that had to be a factor in this. And Minnesotans aren't ready for that.
They're not digging the heat. I would think too, though, maybe your perception is different because at Granite Games, I don't know the setup, but it looked like there was nowhere to hide. And at Mac, there was that whole other section off the top and outside that you couldn't actually get a good view of okay, who's here? Because everybody was underneath.
I factored all that in.
Oh, okay. All right.
I factored all that in. And the Granite Games had little spots like that. They had both sides of the rig, and then they had a little grassy knoll that you could sit on, which was perfect for the snatch event. It was right in front of the snatch. Mm-hmm. So Friday night, people were just sitting on the lawn with their towels and stuff and kind of watching and hooping and hollering. And it was actually really cool. The venue itself was amazing. It's brand new. It's the Vikings practice field. It has it looks like a real, a college stadium. It has a full press box. It had luxury boxes. It had all this stuff for a practice field. And they had concessions open that were very easy to get to, unlike the Mac. It was a beautiful facility, and I hope they keep it there for a while. Other than I'm a Bears fan, and seeing the Vikings logo everywhere made me want to puke.
Yeah, I think that we're going to need it to see in a month or so, after all these mask mandates have been lifted, to see. I think people want to see what the numbers are once we've been without masks for.
Well, and the other factor against this one is it really wasn't the stacked field of the other 2 live ones.
Right.
You know,
Right. Like everybody's going to West Coast. I mean,
right?
people
You
are
had a,
traveling to go to West Coast.
and I think what we're finding is those people popping up out of nowhere are happening every time now. Like Jason Hopper at Mac,
Mhm.
Ariel Lowen winning the Granite Games out of nowhere. Not really out of nowhere, but like nobody expected her to win.
She didn't expect to win. Did you hear?
Right. I
She
mean,
said in her interview that she moved to a new house and she literally signed up to do it because she wanted one of those name placards for her gym.
well, she's a 5-time regionals athlete
Okay.
who never made it to the games.
Wow. Always individual.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And she's got like a 2-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
There was another,
So she actually got
athlete.
better after
Yeah.
giving birth.
There was
Yeah.
another athlete there. I'm going to mess up who it is. So I'm not even going to say, but it was a female, obviously. She has 4 children. 4.
Yeah.
Was it like Amy Powers? Was there like no, not
Amy Morton.
Amy Morton, maybe. I'll have to fact check that. Sorry. Maybe I'll do that while we're talking.
I think you're combining Paige Powers with Amy
Yeah.
Morton. Who
I
are in the
was,
same
yeah.
meet.
Paige Powers looked really different to me. Like she's matured a lot. She just looked like a completely different person. If someone didn't say like, this is Paige Powers, I would not have figured that out.
Recognized. Yeah.
What we saw at Mayhem
Yeah.
a year
completely different.
ago to today, completely different look.
I mean, she looks taller. Her body has changed completely. Yeah, I wouldn't have recognized her. How did she do? Do we know?
She was in the first heat by Sunday.
She was, okay.
Yeah. Really strong. Needs to work on some athleticism, if that makes sense.
No.
Mhm.
Where like her running didn't look smooth.
Okay.
The gymnastic stuff was fine. It's anything where she had to where balance on her legs. And maybe she grew a ton in this last year and she's just getting used to that. And she's kind of getting through that awkward stage. Like I know my daughter went through that and she's only 18, Paige?
Yeah, she's young. I mean, she might be
Yeah.
19 now, but yeah.
I mean, my daughter went through that after a growth spurt where you're awkward and you trip over things and she's probably 4 or 5 inches taller this year than she was last year.
That's huge.
I mean, insane. Yeah. Guys, it is Amy Morton who is the mother of 4. And apparently she works out at Ocean State CrossFit. Ocean State?
Yes.
Wasn't that? Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the teams that qualified.
Teams.
That's
Yeah,
what I thought.
because I think one of the teams that qualified, that was the girl who squat cleaned 265.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
She was on Ocean State, right?
I thought so.
She's 33 years old and has 4 children. And I'm on Instagram and her children are not babies. Like she's got 4 children.
Amy Morton, she did well.
Yeah. She's Canadian. Wow. That's kind of cool. I was kind of hoping that she would be in the top 5 because I just think the fact that you got someone going to the games who's a mom is just really cool. And
Totally.
Ariel Loner, obviously, or Lowen is as well, but 4 is a little different than 1. No offense to only children, parents, but
Christine Middleton is who
Oh yeah.
did that. But I thought it was that Ocean State, but maybe I'm wrong.
I thought it was too, but it's all a blur.
yeah, where's the statistician when you need him? Right?
But anyways, that was crazy to watch that. 265.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then
And the 340 was pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
Good grief. When he opened with 295 and he would have won.
Power snatched it.
Power snatched it. Yep. And then his second attempt would have won him the event at 315. But no.
Yeah,
he
right.
had 340. Insane. And he's going to make a run for the games now too. I saw on his Instagram that he's decided that he's going to be heads down and training for that because he hadn't necessarily been in the past.
Well, he'd actually retired.
Yeah.
And came back and just, like, I guess half-heartedly came back, and he was the leader after day one.
Yep. Yeah.
I
I mean, some
guess,
of that classic CrossFit stuff sort of bit him, but you know, that stuff's easy to get
You
that
can
back.
train that. Yeah.
he is a large man.
Yeah.
You kept saying that about Jason Hopper at Mac. This man is
Big.
large.
You know who's not large is Colton Mertens.
He is not.
My buddy.
It just kind of surprised me every time I would see him running on the field. But the only reason why I was just chuckling every time watching him is he looks identical to one of my friends, just with a mullet. And so I kept sending photos. I'm like, this is you with a mullet. And so I just got a kick out of that.
Yeah, he was fun all weekend because he was very confident coming in.
Yeah.
And he made it known, like, don't count me out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the highlights of the weekend is Brian. I got to sit beside Brian Friend through the whole weekend, and that man knows so much. And but he was not high on Colton Mertens, and I talked him into being high on Colton Mertens during a conversation we had in the press box. But the funniest part was Sunday morning, he looks at me and he goes, all right, events 5 and 6, those D-ball ones, right? Where you have to run out and do the D-ball cleans, and then you get like a 2-minute rest, and then you had to do the D-ball stepovers. That he goes, you can pick one male athlete to crush these 2 events. Who do you got? And so I pondered and I said, I'm going to take Chandler because I think like this is a grit wrestler type workout, and I'm going to take Chandler. He goes, I'm taking Tim Paulson. And the minute he said it, I was like, damn it, he's right.
That's funny. Well,
And
you mentioned
Paulson killed it.
Yeah, he really did. You mentioned that Brian wasn't like a big fan of Colton, and I have a friend, my training partner. She was listening to, I guess, when they announced the results, and it was between Colton and Nick Matthew for the 5th place finish. And she said after he got interviewed, she's like, I don't like Colton. She said he rubbed me the wrong way. He was too like not excited enough about winning. And she said if Nick Matthew had won, he would have been, so over the moon and everything else. And I said, well, like, you don't know him. And that's interesting that you say that, because I don't think athletes realize what they put out to people who don't know them personally. Like we've had conversations with Colton, we're not like friends, but we know him decently and have spent some time with him. And I find him to be super warm and endearing, but I could see, if you didn't know that and you saw his sort of exit interview in the thing, he's very quiet. He's very just kind of to himself and super calm and collected, that you could take that as maybe arrogance or, him not giving a crap, about it. And that really rubbed her the wrong way. And I just thought it was interesting, like from a, like a sociology experiment. Like,
because I'm on the complete flip side of that. I talked to him at least 3 times this weekend.
Yeah.
And I would say we're becoming friends, and he just is a very introverted person. And he just doesn't project much. Now, his girlfriend that he talked about on our show, she is very outgoing.
Good.
He is very bubbly. She is like the exact opposite. And they're just a fun couple. Like I had fun with them all weekend, and I think they're great.
Yeah.
But also to mention, I mean, that's overwhelming. Like that, I'm sure that moment of being interviewed after this big weekend, everything is overwhelming. And if you're an introvert, you might just need time to process. And so, like you're saying, it may not be projected, your excitement, but that doesn't mean that you're not appreciative of.
Right. Yeah. And I just thought it was interesting how different people perceive what they see and hear, and without any context necessarily.
Yeah, he is very quiet. Like when I interviewed him on Saturday morning, like he doesn't get super excited or super low about any. It's just real steady across the board. And even like when he thought something was funny, like it's a quick, it's not. It's just who he is. But yeah,
that's funny. I'm excited for him.
So speaking of that, I have a question I've wanted to ask both of you since this weekend. So you're a 17-year-old girl. You've never been to the CrossFit Games. You finished 3rd. and punch your ticket, but on the last event, you struggle with the last movement. Are you happy or are you sad?
Disappointed. Because that is the last thing that you're remembering.
Yeah, I think my 17-year-old brain would be, my 17-year-old competitive brain would have wanted to finish higher.
So thinking back to when I was a so-called elite athlete in swimming, I was ranked #1 in the state in an event, and I messed up. Like I missed a flip turn where I flipped and I missed the wall.
Mhm.
And I beat myself up to this day of what could have been.
Yeah.
Like hard, beat myself up. and so I thought about that. Like you could tell Emma was, and we're talking about Emma Carey, you could tell she was visibly upset on the field about what had happened. And when I was walking out of the stadium, Machine Gun Mike came up beside me, and
Which
I
is her
said,
dad.
yeah, and I said to him, you know, she did great, and I hope that that's not what she thinks about. And he said, she woke up this morning knowing she could win it, and she was going to go all out to do that. And what happened was there was nothing left on those lunges
Yeah.
To be able to do that. And so I text Cheryl that this question, and I said, you're an elite athlete, you've been to the games. What would you have done? And she said, there are two athletes in this world. There's the athlete that would say, I don't give a shit what happened on the last event. I'm just happy I'm going to the games. And there's the other athlete that says, I want to get home now so I can work on what I messed up.
Mhm.
And Emma is the second.
Yeah. I think it's so that's the part that's frustrating, is because that she knows that she's capable. And I think she is capable. I think it was just the whole weekend added on top of that. And
Yeah,
that was
Yeah.
hard.
she took a
And-
calculated risk, and it didn't, it backfired. And it's just going to be, more data in her toolkit for next time. It was an experience that she will remember and learn from.
So you can look at it, and this is no dig on any athlete, but you can be the Scott Panchek and play it safe and not podium ever, or find your spot and take your risk.
Yeah.
And possibly win. And she had that in the bag.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next thing that was being talked about all over the stadium. And that is judging.
Mm.
Like, I have never heard it talked about in this manner ever before.
Oh, that stinks.
It was inconsistent. And I think that's the main thing. Like, it's not necessarily like that you think that call should or should not have been made. It's that this lane called it one way, this lane called it another way, and that just cannot happen.
Right.
And so Emma kept getting called because her front foot shuffled. And I would say a minuscule bit. I do not believe as a judge I would have made that call.
Yeah.
But I can't say that for sure, but I don't think I would have. And it's kind of what I got from the impression of the Granite Games is it's been around a long time, and it's not really been an official CrossFit competition. It's been kind of a fun thing where people take it very lightly, and that includes the volunteers. And so I think you had a mix of judges who do it all the time, and you had another set of judges who are just local and come in for that competition.
Yeah, that could be.
And because I know the same leads were there this week that were there the week before, and the judging was very different.
Yeah. And I think, it's quite possible too that, the weather and the field conditions had an effect too. If you're out there longer than the athletes are. You know what it's like to judge and be on your feet all day. And like, we feel just as wrecked as judges at the end of the day, sometimes more so than the athletes, because you're just there constantly. You don't get a break. You're not just there for one event. And so that could have been a factor too, that maybe, they didn't anticipate that they might need like a backup squad, or something to relieve. And maybe they had a skeleton of a crew. I don't know, the background or the ins and outs of what happened there, but yeah.
I did find it.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I did find it interesting that on the commentary about it, that they mentioned that Mal and Emma appealed something to the judge, but they never went back and gave the details on that I could hear about what it was, but that they appealed and were awarded whatever they were appealing. So
yeah, I've never actually heard them talk about appeals before.
Yeah.
In the media booth. I've heard them talk about, I mean, even when there's mess ups, like remember when Alessandra Pacelli had like the wrong weight on her bar for a 1 rep max something, and the broadcast said she won, but then it turned out that she was missing a plate on one side, and they went back and like changed the score. I mean, like that was a big enough one for them to talk about. But if it changed the leaderboard, typically you would post the leaderboard again and sort of explain why places had shifted, perhaps. And I don't know if that happened or not. Like I don't have a screenshot of the leaderboard before the appeal, and then I didn't look at it after to see if there was an impact there.
Yeah, and I want to say, like, judging is the most thankless job in the world.
Sure.
When you do it right, nobody notices.
Right.
And when you do it wrong, they nitpick you apart. And so I don't want to be the guy that's nitpicking judges, because I would hate that to be done to me. But there was some inconsistencies with this, and I don't know. I'm only guessing on the group of like what I would call professional judges, and the group of like those that came local, and maybe different interpretations of the standards. But
yeah,
so
because you don't want it to be like a technicality like that changes the outcome of an event, especially one that's qualifying to the game. So
yeah. Any other thoughts on the weekend?
No. On to the next.
Super excited for Saxon.
Yeah.
Super excited for that. I cannot believe the amount that his life is about to change, and he's going to have to be training for this. I just can't even imagine.
Yeah. When are his babies due?
Like next week.
Yeah.
And they're twins, so normally twins come early. So it could be.
It's a planned. It's a C-section, I believe, because of the size. Taylor's huge right now.
Is she there?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say.
No.
I don't think she could travel. Yeah.
No, I sent her a couple messages through Instagram, and sent her some pictures. I had a Saxon because she couldn't be there, but yeah.
What did we think about Chandler and his performance?
I thought it was inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Now that last event, like he went all in and he dominated that last event.
Yeah. And let's face it, an inconsistent Chandler still handedly gets him a ticket to the CrossFit game. So
he finished second.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like even maybe a not at his peak Chandler who may seem to some off this weekend or whatever, not what we expected. He's still an amazing athlete and is going to do well. And hopefully Ben has him set up to peak in August. Maybe he didn't, he just had to get top 5 this weekend.
Well, Ben was right there making sure that everything was going according to plan.
Good.
But I also think that he hasn't been there very long. Right? Like when did he go there? Like
February.
Right.
He wasn't released till March.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So I think that's what the goal is with him, right? Is to become a more consistent athlete. And so I think that I think that it's not a surprise. But like you said, I think he's a phenomenal athlete, and we all love him and want to see him to do really well. But he still has some, some fine tuning to do.
Yeah. His form on his 1 rep max snatch looked really good, and better than, some of the technique that I've seen him do in competition before with Olympic lifting and other things. So
Yeah.
That was definitely something that I saw that improved.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So good stuff. I can't wait to see him.
I just want people to remind me not to forget about Tim Paulson.
Yeah, he was awesome. And those legless rope climbs,
Woo!
crushed him. Yeah, he
Yeah.
crushed him. So for
Yeah.
people that don't know, Tim was in the 2019 games and he was eliminated after the first event in a huge surprise. And I'm saying that honestly, not sarcastically, due to those legless rope climbs. They got him. He was, taxed in a weird way that I don't think he was accustomed to. And it's one of those things, if you don't have them or when you lose them, they are gone. Like they are hard to get back. So he had a very emotional and premature finish to his 2019 games. And this was sort of like, his redemption.
And he is so nice. Like,
Yeah,
so nice. Like,
just a cool dude.
yeah, and his wife is the cutest thing, and their baby is so cute. Like, I love that family.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And
they're
he
awesome.
owns CrossFit Palace with our buddy Eamon, who also qualified for the CrossFit Games and the age group online qualifiers. So it's kind of cool to have co-owners of a gym, both
Totally.
going.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And then on the women's side, the big surprises were that a couple people that we haven't really heard of made the top 5, which meant some people we have heard of did make
not.
it to the top 5.
Yeah.
So Carolyn Connors finished 5th.
Mhm.
Well, let's start with Ariel. Ariel won. She had people there. They were chanting Ariel, Ariel, like it was insane. And then Caroline Connors had a ton of people there rooting for her. And like she was emotional when she got her ticket.
Yeah.
Like just
Sure.
weeping.
And that was it was between her and Nicole McGaney, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Nicole, okay. Yeah, Nicole's a training think tank girl. Yeah. Okay.
So second was Mal O'Brien, 17 years old. Third was Emma Carey, 17 years old. Fourth was Alessandra Pacelli, masters athlete.
Right, 35, 36.
Probably the biggest age gap between qualifiers. And I got to tell you a funny story. So after it was done, I went over to Alessandra and I wanted to congratulate her and
fanboy over her.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, I know.
And but I said, I just want to congratulate you. Like, you're the next Sam Briggs. And she went, the hell I am. I'm done after this year.
That's great.
I was thinking back thinking about Emma Carey for a second when you were talking about the different types of athletes. So go back and think about the documentary made about Fraser when, he messed up with the pig. Right. And that's all he did. He was like, as soon as he got home, went back and trained. And I think that is the kind of grit that Emma Carey has.
Yeah.
So it's funny if we're going to talk about the 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk about them. And to be honest, Emma didn't get a lot of shine at the beginning of the weekend.
No,
it was all Mal O'Brien. And like, honestly, going into the final event, Emma was the one tied for first, not Mal O'Brien.
Right.
And so the talk in the press box was this: Mal O'Brien is the better athlete, but Emma is the better CrossFitter. Like, Emma's technique is flawless. She is a technician. And those are the words coming from like analysts I respect. Where Mal O'Brien just has that raw athletic ability to do whatever she wants to do. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how that develops for the two of them over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and even just how that translates in a month or so at the games.
Yeah, because if you look at the two side by side, Mal has more muscular base to her right now, and Emma is still a little more skinny in that like Sam Briggs body type. but Emma outsnatched her.
Right. Technique.
Right. And that's what everybody was saying. Like, she has flawless technique.
Yeah. So her homework is she needs to build some raw strength, and Mal's homework is she needs to sort of get some finesse and dial in that technique a little bit. So different paths for both of them, but hopefully, presumably the same goal.
I'm really curious to see how they will stack up to Tia.
Yeah.
Brooke, just kind of those caliber athletes as well, because they had, Guillermo O'Connell was in this heat, but there wasn't any other really big names that they were to push against.
Yeah, it was a relatively weak women's field, generally speaking.
Well, and it would have been interesting to see if Emma would have had the event she had at the end more towards the beginning, how would she have reacted to that?
Yeah, and recovered. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also, this was a very heavy programmed event.
Yes.
And that's why I think Christy did not fare well.
Agreed. Yeah, there was nothing over 13 minutes or 15 minutes.
Right. She didn't get to do any long runs. There wasn't really any true odd objects.
Yeah.
Unless you count the D-ball, but
Yeah.
But it was all power, like that torque sled and 150 pound D-ball or 100 pound D-ball.
Mm-hmm.
The dumbbells were heavy for the lunges. Everything was heavy.
Yeah.
And even that, the sprint one where you had to run down to the end of the football field and back, they shortened that from what they said it was a 200-meter run. But if you looked at that, the dumbbells were at like the 40, the 30. So it was a 120-yard run instead of a 200-yard run.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think the longer events would help Emma too.
Sure.
But I think they're both beasts. I think they're going to have their moments at the games. Yeah. Like they're going to have events they're going to do really well on. It's just going to be interesting to see if they can stay consistent for the whole week.
Yeah. And I think the games for them is going to be their baseline. I mean, I think these girls are going to be here for a while, and this is their baseline to be like, all right, now what do we need to do?
Right. Because if you throw in, let's think of some of the events they've had in the past. Like if you throw in a crit race or the bikes that they use the last few years with the obstacle course on the like mountain bikes, and that kind of stuff, or even like open water swims. Like we have no idea how they're going to do. And you've got, veterans that are very, very good at that stuff. Like Tia's not going to lose a swim event probably. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. And I hope that, we get a games this year that's just like what we've come to know, in Madison in terms of breadth of events and variety and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think we are. I think, if you didn't hear, they're going back to the old format where the masters and the age and the teens are going to go at the beginning of the week.
Yep.
And then the end of the week is going to be all individual and teams. And they're only using the two main venues. So the barn off to the side is not being used anymore. So even the teens and the masters are going to use the Coliseum and the North Park field.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And whatever offsite thing they do. Yeah. I can't wait. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah. So excited.
So what's the next event? You guys are going.
So
heading to Vegas.
Going to Vegas.
Yeah.
For West Coast. This weekend is all online stuff. So we'll just have to figure out how to watch that. And then the next week we're in Sin City. Hide my money.
Yep. Prison tattoos and earrings. Get one right here.
We'll see.
Yeah, I probably can't afford that right now.
I'm gonna gamble, and then I'm gonna put my winnings into my tattoo. So how well I do. I'll either
you told me not to let you do that.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Okay, we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that because we get to hang out with Justin.
Yep.
and the crew from out there. And that's going to be fun to watch because I feel close with them. And that was really the big difference for me from Mac to this is I had two people on that floor that I really cared about.
Yeah.
Actually, three people I cared about deeply, and wanted them to do well. And two of them did really well, and one, as we know,
I would say four. I'm going to give you four. You're talking Saxon, Christy, Emma, and Colton. I would say Colton too.
Oh, Colton, yeah. Yeah, I think we became better friends over the weekend.
I just can't wait to find a karaoke bar, and Bethany and I are going to sing some Shania Twain.
And I will have my camera ready.
Sounds good. Yep.
So my wife is actually going to come out to Vegas for a couple of days before the event.
Oh, good.
And then she's going to fly back.
Nice.
She doesn't want to stay for all the CrossFit stuff.
What?
But
if I wasn't into CrossFit, I would not want to stay for all the CrossFit stuff either.
So I think she's going to go to Friday.
Cool.
And then she's flying out Saturday morning.
Perfect. That'll be nice. Awesome.
So we've never been to Vegas, so who knows? Maybe we'll get married or something.
Oh.
She's just going because she doesn't want you to get your ears pierced. That's all.
True.
You're not really going to get your ears pierced.
The hell I'm not. I've lived a life of conformity and I want to be who I really am.
Yeah. And I am actually getting a prison tattoo, so it's fine. Amy's like, where am I?
I'm much happier in this state.
Yeah. Same. Okay. Well, we got like 15 minutes before I have to coach. So I want to get through everything we have to get through.
Let's get through our questions.
Just let them do whatever they want. All right, you have the questions.
Yes. Questions are first question. I like these actually. So what's your favorite joke? And if you do have a favorite joke, and if so, you're going to tell us what it is. Amy, do you have a favorite joke?
Okay, so I don't have like necessarily a favorite. I do love dad jokes. I do. So I can either give you a Snoop Dogg joke, which I do like, or I could just give you a dad joke that has to do with working out.
Let's hear both of them.
Okay.
Well, Scott.
What does Snoop Dogg use to wash his clothes?
Oh boy. I don't know what.
Bleach.
That's
Love Snoop. And then, why do some couples go to the gym? Because they want their relationship to work out.
That's cute.
Wow.
Very cute. All right.
Here's my favorite joke of all time.
Okay.
What do you call a redhead on the ledge or on the edge?
Your
a
wife.
Redhead on the edge.
Julie Schweitzer.
That's why I love it. It is a ginger snap.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Okay, so mine's a little story. So we have to tell you a story here. So this is little Johnny used to walk down to the bus stop every morning, and he lived in a really bad part of town, and there was a prostitute that like hung out by the corner, and she used to always look at him and say, "Hi, little Johnny." And he always wondered like why she did that. So this one morning he walks by and she sees him and she says, "Hi, little Johnny." And he says to the prostitute, he says, "How come every time you say hello to me, you go like this?" And she said, "That's because you have a little peenie." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he thinks about it and he goes to school. The next day he comes walking down the school bus and he sees the prostitute and she says, "Hi, Johnny." And he says, "Hi, lady."
Leave it to Kat to take us to R-rated.
I just did that. Yes. That joke, I've known that joke for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Hey, who are our questions brought to us by?
Oh, our questions are brought to you by Up Before You Coffee. They have a light roast. They have a medium roast. They're both delicious. Probably better than Dan Bailey's coffee.
We don't know because we can't even talk to Dan.
This is true.
And you can get yours for 20% off by using Clydesdale20 at upbeforeyou.com.
Awesome. All right. Second question. If you had to be a celebrity's personal assistant, who would you choose?
I can't go first.
Okay, fine. I'll go first. If it's, I'm gonna give you two.
Awesome.
If it's a CrossFit athlete that we're counting as a celebrity, obviously it's going to be Con Porter. I have no problems moving to Australia. And then if we're going just regular celebrities, 100% JT, Justin Timberlake.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, that would be a good one. All right. So since we're doing CrossFit celebrities, I'll do CrossFit celebrities. Rich Froning. Would love to hang out with that Cookeville crew. Ever since I went there, I want to live there. And they do fun stuff. Lots of fun stuff. Celebrity. I'm going with Madonna.
Again, R-rated.
I know. Yes, there are things that I want to know.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. I
And then you
remember
write
watching
about
that. She what was that Truth or Dare? Her Truth or Dare documentary, whatever. I was like obsessed with that as a young person. So yeah, Madonna.
As Kevin Costner would say, it was neat.
Yeah.
CrossFit celebrity. So many to choose from. I would go Tasia.
Yeah, I figured. See, and then we could hang out together.
The more I get to know her, the more I think she is just the most awesome person ever. And with, like you, I loved Cookeville when I was there. It's the coolest little town, and maybe I would finally get super fit.
Just so you know, when Amy threw in the CrossFit one and I started thinking about CrossFit people, Tasia was the first person that came to mind. But I knew since I was going before you that you would pick Tasia. And so I picked Rich. That's transparency.
Okay. Well, I could have went with one of my other 7. And for celebrity, I'm going to pick Kate Winslet.
Just because you're all over that Mayor of Easttown show right now.
Yeah, but I've always liked her. I think she's a great actress. And
I like her too.
Every interview I've seen with her, she just seems down to earth and like fun to hang out with. So, yeah.
Cool. Like it. Those are fun.
Yeah.
So who's our guest next week? We may have put spoilers out this morning.
We did?
Little blips on YouTube if you caught the early edition.
Oh, that's so funny. I don't even know how. Nowhere in that interview did we use his Instagram handle.
So the only reason why I was messaging it to you guys, because as I thought, maybe they're tagging him because they were recording it and I was waiting for it to be something else.
I quite literally don't even know. Like, I never typed those words into. Do you know what I mean? Like I did the interview. I mean, I edited it, but I never typed his name into the thing. So I have no idea how that even showed up there.
So are you going to tell the audience who is next week?
I might get it wrong. You better say.
Spencer
Panchek.
Yeah, because see, I would have said Saxon probably.
The third Panchek brother trying to qualify for the CrossFit Games.
And
Scott second, Saxon first. What do we think Spencer's going to do?
He's at West Coast, right?
Yeah.
I have to look and see who else is there. He's going top 5 for sure.
Okay. I think so too. I think this is his year.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually talks about a mental coach that Saxon and him are using now.
Facundo.
And I know Facundo is their aerobic capacity coach. And he's doing their programming.
Got it.
This is a guy named Greg. And Spencer talks about him a lot in the interview. And I got to meet him this weekend.
Oh, cool.
And he is a really cool guy. And it was fun to kind of hang out with them. Yeah, I think you'll like it. It's a really interesting. I learned things about Spencer that I didn't know before, and I know them.
So you say we will definitely learn things about.
So here's just a little taste. Did you know that he is an EMT?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
No, he's always, after their accident, he always wanted to be a first responder.
I love it.
I just put together the whole reason why he chose Cliffside as an affiliate name too. Like it all came together for me. So
Yeah,
She must not have listened
he
to
talks
our
about
podcast.
that as well.
She
If
didn't
you
listen
go-
to episode number 8 or 5,
I must not have
whatever.
produced that one. Yeah.
6.
Six.
Saxon is at 6 and he explains the whole story, but Spencer
Yeah.
does it again. So you don't have to go back to 6 if you don't want to.
But you should always go back and hear all of the episodes that you haven't heard.
Yeah, I was so out of breath in 6. Just listen to Spencer on Monday.
Yeah. New listeners will hear something new.
Yeah, awesome. So, best thing from the internet.
I'm a little bit worried about mine. I feel like I might have already given it to you before.
Uh-oh.
I'll ask. Did I do the one about the prank wars between the couple and the confetti cannons?
No.
Oh, okay. So on TikTok, there's these couples that like surprise each other all the time by just letting off confetti cannons. Like the wife will be like sweeping the floor of like dirt and stuff, and the husband will walk up behind her while she's cleaning and just let off this confetti cannon. And he like hides them underneath the like cabinets. The other day he came home, handed one to his kid, and then he walks out the room and the kid does,
Oh, that's funny.
blows it off. So I just think it's hilarious.
Is that where you got the idea for Shmoopy's graduation?
No, that was a football thing. So every time they
Okay.
got a touchdown, we would let one go. So
The TikTok algorithms knew that about you and put that
they
on your
did
feed.
and confetti cannons and then it searched. You're right.
There you go. Scary world.
Yep.
Mine is Jason Hopper's interview with Sevan and Brian Friend. So we got to see, long form podcast from Jason. Interesting guy, really interesting guy. Just intriguing. And, even Sevan, who sometimes asks awkward, strange questions, I think enjoyed the interview. It was funny too, because Savan is like a big Travis Mayer fan. They also interviewed Travis Mayer on their podcast, and that one was pretty good too. But Savan all weekend during the MAC was posting video footage of the MAC and getting all pissed off because the cameras weren't showing Travis. They were only showing Jason. And he'd like pan across the camera and he'd be like, what the hell's going on? Like, where's my boy Travis? Nobody cares about this kid, and then 2 weeks later, obviously he's eating crow and putting him on his podcast, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I love that. Just to echo yours. And Savan was typical Savan, asking all the awkward questions, and it didn't even faze Jason a bit.
I mean, like I said, he's got like a champion's mindset. This kid really does. It was very interesting. And he actually, he had the maturity to realize that he probably wasn't going to make the NFL and decided to pursue CrossFit instead, which is, kind of hard to give up in some ways, because even college football is pretty, it's like a status symbol, not quitting and going and doing CrossFit. So it's just, you just sort of can tell what kind of person Jason is from that. And it's very reminiscent of, one Matt Fraser. I'm excited for him. Was that
I really have nothing from the internet this week because I have no sleep. I've had no time to watch anything other than my own clips
from the Granite Games?
Yeah. And I still have more to do.
Yeah.
And I am
Hard.
It's so bad. So yeah, I don't think I have a thing.
That's all right. You'll have 2 next week, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've banked enough.
I think we're fine.
Yeah. I've banked enough in the past. I haven't even got a chance to watch the last 2 episodes of Mayor of Easttown.
Oh, you gotta see.
And so episode 5 ends with that dramatic shooting, and I'm like dying, and I've had no time to even watch the last 2 episodes.
You better.
What is that shirt happening there with the green sleeve? Because it looks like there's like a green light somewhere in the room and it just happens to be flashing on your shoulder.
No,
So what-
it is a green sleeve. See,
It's just a green sleeve.
yeah, it's hip.
Is it? Is it though? I don't know.
I'm trying to wear things other than Rogue. Come on, give me a break.
I don't know, buddy. Rogue looks good on you though. I don't know about mint green.
Keep it simple.
I'm gonna do the Karen thing again. What's happening?
What's happening with that?
What's happening?
All right, so you want to know the honest truth? I have not bought new clothes for myself in a very long time, other than like Rogue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I ordered one of those boxes that sends you like
Yeah,
the
like
newest
Stitch Fix.
trends.
Yeah, Stitch Fix. It's what it is, right?
It's not Stitch Fix.
Okay.
But it's for dudes.
But anyway,
Did
this
you-
is one of the shirts that came.
But did you do the off-brand box?
No,
Are you sure?
no, because the first box was awesome. Super
But you're allowed.
awesome.
Well, wait, if you don't like the shirt though, you can put it back, right? You don't have to keep. You don't have to keep what they send you. You have the option to take it back.
I hate you both.
I love you.
Hey, huge shout out to Winston Box, which is what it is, and we'll take your money if you'd like to endorse and sponsor our podcast.
If you too would like a mint green sleeve on your shirt, go to Winston Box.
I'll have you know that Hustle May just made a shirt just like this.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so you're fashion
Maybe-
forward. I am
yeah.
just not with it yet. That's
So
cool.
anyway, we'd like to thank RX Smart Gear, Clydesdale 15 to check out, get you 15% off anything in the store except for special editions and new arrivals. Shop.bearbells.com to get all of your protein bars, crunchy fudge, creamy cashew, caramel cashew, whatever it is. I don't know. I haven't been able to try that one yet.
There's a almond nougat, a hazelnut nougat comes in a lime green, mint green
Okay.
wrapper.
I've never tried that one either.
Oh,
So
Speaking
anyway.
of mint green.
Shut up. Anyway, shop.bearbells.com. Use Clydesdale 10, get 10% off anything in their store. With that, I hate these people and I don't want to see them for a while. And so I'll see you next time, maybe alone, on the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends.
Bye.
See ya.